Someone's here. And they just left. I guess we'll start. Looks like there's a couple of you here. We'll start in 2 minutes. We'll give everybody 2 minutes to be late, and then I'm just going to start talking. Now there's only one. Who's actually here? You can type in the comments there. So now it's who you are. If you're telling me who it is, I can't hear you. Okay, so 1 more minute, we'll start. If you're just getting in, somebody please let me know who's here, because it might help me tailor this talk. I can't actually see who is who. So yeah, if you just comment on there, that'd be great. I think there's a little bit of a delay. Okay, so some of you guys texted me, which is great. You can totally ask questions through text as well, or Facebook Messenger, and I'll probably, if more people jump on, I'll repeat it, because as usual, there's only I think there were 2 on last time, and I think we got a couple on this time, which is fine. So that means there'll be probably a lot of questions in class. But what I'm hoping to get done tonight is to go over kind of the mechanics of the challenge, and then answer any questions you might have, so you can kind of understand how everything works. So we'll start off, because I don't know how far any of you guys have gotten on this. But you want to make sure you download on your phone the Wodify Rise app. Last year when we used this app, you were able to do it on your computer. I'm not sure that's the case this year. App is much easier, right? And essentially the challenge is this. It's 2 months of hardcore buy-in, which means it may not be sustainable long-term to eat and live like this. And that's what the next 10 months are going to be, because we're going to run this thing for a full year. The first 2 months, you have daily and like all this stuff you're monitoring, daily, weekly, all that. What we're going to do then after that 2 months is just going to be a weekly thing, most likely on SugarWOD after that, where you just click like, hey, did I do this? And we're going to choose a much more long-term sustainable kind of idea. For this, though, we're kind of going to go at it a little bit more hardcore, so we can get the idea and reset. Like I was talking to somebody who wants to cut their drinking back and only have 3 drinks every Friday night, and then 3 drinks Saturday night, 3 drinks Sunday night. And while that is less than they're doing now and is an improvement, what we want to see is very limited, maybe 1 drink on the weekend, if any, so that once we go back to something that's a little bit more sustainable for you, you kind of have that baseline to measure it by, because if you just consistently drink 3 drinks all the way through this, you don't know how that alcohol or is affecting you, or how those 3 cheats Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are affecting you. Not to mention, doing that, something like that 3 times a week may sabotage your results, and the only way to know is to get it all out, right? So this is much more of a hardcore kind of 2 months. Not that you have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, right? I'm busting out my phone here so we can go through the tasks. I don't expect you to be perfect. It's okay if you're not. It's okay if you make mistakes. Just dock yourself points, right? Because that's really, in the end, too, what it's about, is learning that Yes, I didn't get all the sleep. Yes, I have a great excuse why I didn't have the sleep. Your health doesn't care. You still lose points from that. And that's kind of the idea behind it. So the tasks are broken up and some of them start later, which is why they may show up on your end. I can't tell. But certain ones will start at certain times. So we'll kind of ease into it a little bit, especially with the caffeine one. But some of them are weekly, some of them are daily, right? I'll cover the weekly ones first because you only do those weekly. Some of them refer to stuff you did throughout the week. It's just easier to log on a weekly basis. So there's measurements. So you'll take your measurements. If you don't have measuring tapes, I had a couple. They've disappeared, but I've ordered a couple. So if you can't get your measurements done for this week because you don't have a tape, let me know. I've ordered more. They should be here by Wednesday. So you can still give yourself credit as long as you do them as soon as we get those tapes in. Progress pictures, you take a series of pictures. They're just for you. I've said this before. If you want to show them at the end or you want to let us use them on social media because you're really impressed with yourself, what you did, that's fantastic. Love to see those. But that's not part of the requirement. That, and then there is one more, and that's high intensity exercise, right? That is for now the other weekly one. And the reason that's weekly is because you don't have to do high intensity exercise every day. 4 days, right? Doesn't mean you have to come to the gym 4 days. You can come to the gym once, but you can do 3 high intensity exercise workouts at home. So travel workouts, right? Or running sprints or getting on the rower, whatever it is. Any of that's fine. So you don't have to come to the gym 4 days. You just have to do high intensity workouts 4 days a week. If you do, this is the first, it's called a variable. So there's choices, right? Variable points. So you can get full points if you do it 4 days a week, fewer points if you do it 3 days a week, and then you get 0 if you do it 1 or 2, right? Like I said, it's 20 minutes out of your day, worst case scenario, 4 days a week. All right. And then let's go on to some daily stuff. And there actually might be some other weekly stuff that pops up in here, but we'll talk about that later. So we start off with kind of the big one. And this is the one that the reason why everybody signs up and the reason why they don't sign up too, right? The one that scares everybody, the food journal. So the guides are on there. If you click through here, you can see kind of, well, you can't see anything, but if you click on attachments, you'll see the food journal. And a lot of you guys who signed up have been around for a long time. So you know my stance on a lot of things, but if you're questioning anything or you're not sure about anything, reach out, or you can type it in here or text me right now, even for a couple of you guys that are on here. And I'll kind of help you with it because there is some targeted stuff depending on what your goals are. But essentially it's eat meats, eat vegetables, eat starchy tubers. So that's potatoes, sweet potatoes, yucca, some fruit, some nuts and seeds, some healthy fats, which is kind of a weird thing, but it's like the butters, the olive oils, the more saturated animal fats, coconut oil, things like that, to cook in. Now, if you're trying to gain weight, they're fantastic to just eat it. But if you're not trying to gain weight, I don't suggest eating grass-fed butter, even though it's delicious, just off the stick, right? But if you want to cook in that, you can do that. And that's the extent of it. We drink water, we drink black coffee, and you drink tea. Right now, there is that kind of fine line where if you drink the coffee and you want to put some coconut milk creamer in there, almond milk and creamer in there, that's okay. But that's what we're looking at. Now, if you're looking for kind of a weight loss scenario, I generally recommend, and that's in there, 100 grams of carbohydrate at the top end, and that seems to be pretty good. And then if you layer that on with about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, that tends to help too, because it's hard to eat a lot when you're eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, so you're not going to be able to shove a lot of extra stuff in there. Fill it in and then fill the rest in with, fat calories. But don't worry too much about that. The big one seems to be that 100 gram of carbohydrate. In general, it seems to be better to take it at night or dinner carbs. But you don't necessarily have to do that, right? And there's been a lot of people will say this, like that's my general recommendation for weight loss because it seems to work for most people. But there's people who lose tons of weight who just stick to the parameters and they don't worry about how many carbohydrates they take in. So it's not necessarily you'll have to do that. If you're coming from somewhere where you're eating a ton of carbs right now, it might not be the worst idea to work yourself to that, where you're going maybe you're at 400 if you guesstimate right now and you put it in a calculator and you say, all right, I'm gonna give myself 300 this week, 200 next week, and then the third week I'll go 100. Benefit of having a little longer time frame. right? If we're trying to gain weight, we basically do the opposite. You can eat carbohydrate. I'm a big fan of dipping things in butter if you're trying to gain weight. There is some autoimmune protocol stuff that a lot of people do. And if you want to get into that, we can do that, but we'll kind of talk individually about that. But yeah, for the most part, it's like we said, it's eat your meats, vegetables, starchy tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yuca. I see everybody's joining us right on time, 10 minutes late. So I was telling them I saw a few more people just join. So if you have questions, feel free, text me, message me, or if you can figure out how to type it in here, you can do that. David France said it was on a lag on the last one, but we weren't sure he hadn't already been drinking, so who knows. But yeah, so we're back to meats, vegetables, starch tubers, fruits. I'm a big fan of sticking to the glucose-rich fruits, or so like berries. But again, that's going to be a real individual thing. How everybody reacts to different carbohydrates is different. And then some nuts and seeds. Don't kill the nuts and seeds, though. All right, maybe a half cup to a cup a day, tops at the very most. And then your healthy fats, and then, of course, water, black coffee, and tea. If you need to use something, use coconut milk. Basically, it's not on that list. It's not in. So as people were asking about oat milk, oat is a grain. Grains do not appear on the list, so oat milk is out. Nuts and seeds, almond milk, coconut milks tend to be better. Those are on the list. So that's the food thing. And there's a whole other food video of why we do what we do that I'll be posting later. In fact, I'm going to make different videos about each thing as we go through. To kind of give you some more insight, especially into like stuff like sleep and some ideas how to improve your sleep, et cetera, and so on and so forth. But for now, we're going to work on a nutrition video, 2 of them. One, why we do it, and kind of some more ideas of what's good to eat. And I'm going to be constantly posting. So if you're not in the Facebook group, I've just found another app called Band. We're probably going to start using it for the gym because it operates very much like a Facebook group. So I'll probably create a group for the nutrition challenge and probably double post. So it's in both spots, but I just posted some stuff about snacks up there, and I'll probably try to at least 3-4 times a week, kind of give some helpful ideas or some recipes or some places to find recipes for cooks and non-cooks. So yeah, if you have questions about recipes though, or if you have recipes yourself, I'll leave that open on like the main page where you can't post in there without approval. So you guys can share information and help each other. So moving on. The next thing we've got down the list, and you'll see when you pull up your phone, it's called Walk It Out. Essentially, you just have to walk for 30 minutes a day in 2 intervals, right? So if you're walking, you're not going to count the 1 minute you got up from the couch to walk over to the fridge, right? You're going to have to walk in 15-minute intervals. If you walk at work for 15 minutes straight at a time, great, good for you. If not, go take a nice, relaxing 15, 30-minute walk at some point during the day. It's really, really simple. Then we get to the one that everybody's dreading is don't drink, right? Yeah, I get it. The holidays, you love your alcohol, but the holidays are over, so we shouldn't have that excuse. So we're going to try not to drink for the most of it. If you do, there's 3 levels, right? If you have 1 or 2 drinks, you lose some points. If you have more than 2, you lose more. You probably should lose all your food points for the day, but we haven't been able to figure out how to do that because you can't put negative numbers in there because drinking is food, but it'll be the equivalent of losing that, right? Because it affects you that much. It affects your sleep, affects your diet, microbiota, all that stuff. So alcohol is alcohol. 1 drink is 1 drink. So like when you look at the charts, whether it's 12-ounce beer or like 1.5 ounces of liquor, that's a drink. So Debo, I know specifically wanted to fill up a garbage can with vodka and call that a drink. That does not count as a drink. That would be like 35 drinks, and you would then get no points, and you might even die. So that's a pretty easy one. Just don't drink. You get the full points. Drink a little bit, you get less points. Drink a whole lot more, you get 0 points. Then we have the unplug one. So essentially, if you like to meditate, great. If you don't like to meditate, that's okay too. But that's the one option you have is to meditate, or you can unplug where you read a book that maybe it's educational, maybe it's not, but it's not political or anything like that. It's not something that's going to stress you out. You can sit quietly and listen to music, kind of de-stress. I recommend meditation, and I'll put out some stuff on some good apps that are out there. There's a couple of them kind of depending on your choice, your preferences. that you can use, but that'll be another later post. But you're just going to do that 10 minutes a day, won't kill you. And it's super effective, right? Lots of people do it now. Let's see. We also have sleep, right? Now, I'm always trying to control what we can control, and you can't worry about what you can't control. So the sleep criteria is essentially, did I get in bed and lay down for 8 to 9 hours a night, right? That's the top level score. If you can't sleep, that like I don't want you to get more stressed out because you couldn't sleep, because you need credit for the points. You get credit if you're trying to sleep. All right. Having said that, I will post a lot of information, because sleep's kind of crucial, on ways you can improve your sleep quality, improve your efficiency, where you go to sleep quicker, so you're not laying in bed, and what to do if you don't, and things like that. So as we go through, so there will be a lot of information coming out on sleep, because sleep is right up there with food, above exercises in level of importance, right? So sleep and food are kind of the primary reasons we're doing this, along with not drinking. And going along with that, there's one more that'll pop up. And again, not all of this starts right away, and you'll see which ones come in. But this is like a contain the caffeine. Well, like, I'm a big fan of limiting caffeine. So there will be a limited amount, right? We're not going to have 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. And then there's going to be a timing element. Now, not everybody goes to sleep at the same time, right? So it's going to be limited by how close to bedtime did you have that caffeine. Like, no caffeine within 8 to 10 hours of bedtime is the ideal situation. It's probably ideal even more than that, because some people metabolize caffeine very slowly. But we're gonna kind of say, hey, no caffeine within 10 hours of bedtime, less than 200 milligrams a day, right? And as long as you did that, you get full points for it. If you had an afternoon espresso, you don't get credit for it, right? Keep in mind that things that you may not realize have it, which is why it's great to check everything. Like FitAid has some caffeine in it. So if you're having a FitAid at 2 p.m. and you're going to sleep at 8 p.m., that's probably going to disqualify your points for that day. And it's probably going to disrupt your sleep, which is the main thing we're looking at. All right. So all you do is each day you go in and you fill out the daily challenges, or if they're up there, the weekly challenges, the weekly points things. If you forget, on like some of the other challenges we've done in the past, you can go back up to a week and fill in your points. After a week, you've probably definitely forgotten what you've done. But that's okay. So we don't want to, sorry, I'm getting a question here. So after that, you don't want to kind of make up scores. We want to be as honest as possible. And that's where the other part I want to get to, be honest. Like, you're not going to win anything at the end of this other than your health and your fitness. So tell the truth, right? Did you have a little bit of something? Then give yourself points deduction, right? Don't lie about anything. Did you get 7 hours and 45 minutes in bed? That's not 8 hours. Be honest about it, right? Get the exercise in, eat the food. And that's usually where people have the issue, is they go, it's fine. It's not fine. Be honest about what you did. Now, having said that, especially with food, like, there's two levels. Did I do right? Did I cheat a little bit? Did I cheat a lot? A piece of pizza is cheating a lot, right? Having a couple M&Ms, small amount, probably not the end of the world. Somebody put some Parmesan on your salad you ate and you didn't realize to not ask for it, but you don't have time to get it done. That's a small thing, right? You eat the breadstick that comes with it. Now we're on to 0 points for the day. All right. That's how that's going to work. So I don't know, Judy, are you watching? I don't know. If you're watching, Judy, there's an app called Wodify Rise, right? When you signed up, it should have that. It's the same website, but there's an app, and that app will have all the info about it and the video. But I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to hang out here for about 5 minutes. Ask away. Any questions you got about the challenge, I'll answer. If you have a specific challenge or a specific question about your goals or your situation or your condition, whatever it is, let me know. You can message me directly and I will do my best to help you answer that. Like, we can plan a time where we can spend 5-10 minutes kind of going over your specific questions that relate just to you. Now, if this is a challenge-wide thing, or is this allowed, is this not allowed, let me know here. And because somebody else probably has that question, right? Look at my cool sticker, by the way. All right. So 5 minutes, ask away if you have any questions. If not, good luck. I'll stay in touch. We've got that Facebook group. If you're not in that Facebook group, let me know. So, do I recommend keeping a food journal? Yes. Yes. Depending on who you are, one of the cool things about this app is that not only will you will you be able to log whether you did the food or not, it asks you to take pictures of it. Big fan of that because we'll be able to go back through and look at those pictures. So for me, that kind of will knock out the food journal part. So I would 100% do the food journal via the pictures. If you want to do more, that's great too. If we get into it for a couple months, we find we're struggling with certain things, it is nice to have that to look back, but we can start it then too if you want. So if it helps you for accountability, yes, but you can definitely take the pictures on this app. And yeah, Arla, it's very similar to last year's challenge. There's going to be some changes like we just talked about, and there's some more stuff going on this year. But for the most part, yeah, it's very similar to last year's challenge, with the exception that it's not over in 2 months. It runs the entire year, right? Just at a less crazy level. Don't worry about too much about portion sizes. That's a good question that everybody has. I would recommend that you eat when you're hungry. It's always my favorite thing. And to limit the total carbohydrate intake for the day to 100 grams. But other than that, portion sizes, your body should, if we're eating right food, your body should regulate your portion sizes. But that's one of the reasons why I don't want to dump like the butter and the extra like super dense calories if you're in it for weight loss. Now, if you're not in it for weight loss, then that's a whole different story. But if you're in it for weight loss, then the carbohydrate is the kind of the variable we want to kind of worry about. The rest should take, your appetite should take care of itself. And if it doesn't, if we're still a month in and we're struggling, then let's talk. Most people don't need to do that unless you have a specific condition. Then you got a diagnosed thyroid thing going on. Then we kind of look at stuff like that. Or if we're 2-3 weeks in and nothing's kind of moving in the right direction, you may have something that's undiagnosed that we need to look at. But for the most part, most people do all right with their long term with their appetite regulating themselves. Any other questions, guys? I see there's more people popping in and out. So if you're joining us late because you didn't realize this was 6 o'clock, feel free to go back and this will be up there. You can watch it. It's very similar to the other one. But if you have questions now, go ahead and ask that. No, I guess I'll. Nope. No, I don't really worry about meal timing because some of that depends. Like, there's no good research on when you should stop eating. There's some evidence, like even people who are super primal low carbers, who've done some evidence eating honey right before bed helps sleep quality. I eat all over the place. It just depends on what my schedule is like, and it doesn't seem to affect me. And there's no good research one way or the other on it. If you find, and this is kind of a personal thing, that you're having issues digesting and it's affecting your sleep, then we need to move that feeding time back before it. But otherwise, it doesn't seem to matter. As long as it's not impacting your sleep, there doesn't seem to be a huge reason to move that feeding window. Now, having said that, if you want to try intermittent fasting, which we can talk about, that might be specific to whoever's goals they are, we can totally do that. But for the normal person, I think we'll probably be okay, especially with as crazy as life is. Like, you may get home 2 hours before bedtime and you still got to cook dinner and then go to sleep. And it's better to eat that dinner than not, right? Trying to find stuff for people. Guys, 2 more minutes. Ask away if you got anything. If not, you're good to go. Yes. So somebody just said, okay. So two things. Cool. So yes, somebody just said they need help. They're gonna need help with recipes so it doesn't get boring. 100% on that. There's a ton of resources, and I'll start. I don't want to just throw them all out at once so everything gets lost. So every few days I'll post like kind of an website or some books or something like some specific recipes that are delicious, whatever it is. But I will definitely post periodically as we go through this every few days some websites to kind of find ways to kind of make it interesting, right? And then all the info is coming through Wodify Rise app, sort of. So there's the guides and stuff on the app that will kind of give you that stuff. And I'm gonna, as we go through this, so you'll have a general nutrition outline, right? Which is usually what everybody's kind of looking for when they're looking for resources and stuff. As long as the recipe fits within that criteria. So a lot of times paleo and primal recipes, any kind of evolutionary based eating approach, as they call it, or whatever it is, those generally fit into this too. Just make sure it does and make sure you limit the stuff. But I'm going to be, like I said, I'll be posting resources on where to find stuff and some more resources on I'll probably making some resources. Well, I have made. I'll be posting some of the resources we made, some blog posts and stuff on kind of adherence stuff or sleep quality or ideas on meditating, things like that. That should be helpful. So there'll still be a lot of resources that go up in the Facebook group and the Band app. So if you're not on Facebook, we'll be able to add you on that, right? Make sure. I think she's on the video when I just answered that, but I'm gonna make sure that I didn't just answer her question and she's just randomly asking. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. This will be up there. You can rewatch the riveting video I posted multiple times if you'd like. This will be like step one if you're having trouble sleeping is to watch this video, right? All right. Well, good luck. And again, always ask any questions you have either via Facebook or text or the new Band app that we'll be adding tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.